In many ways, we can say this whole square, named after Slovenia's grandest poet, of whom you see the sculpture in front of you. So, Prešeren Square, this square, Mr. Francis Prešeren, is like a miniature of the city. It is the architecture. But firstly, about the poet. So, he was living here in the first half of the 19th century. Mr. Prešeren was, next to being a poet, he was also a very successful solicitor. But of course, we can say here that although he was a very successful solicitor, he didn't really have any pedigree. He was actually coming from a small village right next to Blade Lake, where still the big dragons are living and so on. So when he came to school here, we can say that the story that I will now, let's say, go slowly to, happened. So the thing is here that when he was here at the grammar school, although he was always given the prizes for being the best student, he was never declared the best student. Because always, the person who was declared as the best student at the grammar school was actually his, let's say, nemesis, who was actually the son of the finance minister of Austria-Hungary. Then, of course, they went to study both law at the university in Vienna. All nice and well. Of course, he graduated with summa cum laude and so on, then returned back here to practice law. And, well, throughout all this time, he was actually already a very accomplished, as I said, poet, and also we can say very much a ladies' man, yeah? But then, of course, that happened that he met a lady whose name was, yeah, I'm not joking, Juliet. Yeah? Primiz Julia. Yeah? A daughter of a fairly important trading family in this city. And, well, he loved her, she liked him, never loved, but definitely liked him. But of course, her parents were very much opposed to any kind of wedding between those two, because simply he didn't have the pedigree. So, who did she marry? Well, that high school nemesis, yeah? So yeah, Romeo and Juliet, yeah? And of course we can say here that they didn't manage to kill each other again, like Romeo and Juliet did. So that's, of course, there is no balcony of Juliet. There is a window past which, oh, well, it's not effective, you see it already here. You see the red window on the yellow building? Yeah? So that's Juliet's window, because that house there is one of those, well, not the only, but one of many houses under the ownership of her family. So at least today, they can look at each other and so on. Yeah? On the other hand, of course, next to writing, of course, as a poet of romanticism, a huge number of love poems. But of course, next to that, romanticism in Europe was also the time of nationalism. So of course, it was all about re-establishing the facts of how each and every nation came to be, so glorious past and so on. Yeah? So the same thing here. He had written a few beautiful epics about how, let's say, Slovenians came to be. Well, partially based in reality, mostly based in fantasy. But of course, nevertheless, it was a nice epic. Yeah? So we can say that here, still today, on 2 euro coin of Slovenia. Oh, as you have been now around Europe quite a bit, I guess, you know that all the euro coins are different. Yeah? So on one side, they're all the same, what the denomination is, yeah? On the other side, you have German eagles, you have Dante Alighieri in Italy, you have, yeah, something, yeah? You have Mozart in Austria. In Slovenia, on 2 euro coin, so the highest coin is this guy here. Okay. And I said, in terms of the architecture, take a look now behind you. It's written up there, Ave Gratia Plena. So, Ave, greetings, Gratia Plena, full of mercy, lady full of mercy. At the top you can see Virgin Mary as a queen with baby Jesus, the young king. And so, the Church of the Annunciation. The church was actually built here on a much older Gothic church, which was destroyed by the city in 1640 to prevent it falling into the hands of the Ottomans. So after months after the Ottomans had to flee, the church was built actually up to 1646, not just as a new monastery church, but also as a symbol of victory against the Ottomans. So that's, of course, for a monastic church, a fairly grand one, with the buildings to the side of it being once an Augustan monastery.